Hi again, guys. Richard Q here again. I got a lot of these. I'm gonna go through. So, I mean, if you're interested, it's pretty good reading. If you want to buy the books, which is these are the books. Keep doing this. I got to do it. Brooklyn Street Fighter, Surviving the War Zone. Growing up East New York. That's this one. It's got my picture at 15 on the cover, and my second book, which be a while before we start reading this, is Brooklyn Street Fighter: Surviving the War Zones. This is Vietnam and then back to the streets of Brooklyn, which are worse than when I left it. I went halfway around the world to fight a war. I came back to trash. I mean, East New York was literally in the abyss, you know. But this story is about the old mill, how I met guys from the old mill, which is a part of East New York. It's, actually the Casey family, they're from the old mill, Paulie Vario and those guys. But this was 1960. I was hanging out at Izzy's Candy Store on Hegeman Avenue, across the street from 202 Schoolyard, and it was me, Bobby Chink, and Jimmy DeCanio. We called him Bobby Chink because he had these, it's not a racial thing. He had these thick not sunglasses. He had these thick glasses that he wore, and he was blind as a bat. Strong little guy, but blind as a bat. So we're hanging out, and then like it's beautiful day. I had a day off. I'm not sure why I had. Maybe it was a Sunday. I can't remember that part of it, but I had a day off. And when I had a day off from work, I don't want to waste it, So I told the guys, "Come on, Bobby, Jimmy, let's go to the corner and see if we can get any of the guys. Go to the park, see if we can get the guys to play. We'll play a game of punch bowl in the park." So they said, "Yeah, great idea." So we started walking down Hegeman Avenue towards New Lots Avenue, towards the park, and I see these three guys coming up the street, and then I noticed one of them is G-Man. G-Man's from the old mill, real psychopath, but I liked it. I love this character, the guy. I love the guy. All right, so they're walking up, and there's this one guy. He's a little taller than G-Man, buffer, and he's walking like a little badass. And it's easy to spot these guys. I'm like, oh shit, look at this guy, So Bobby says to me, when they got up to us, "Hey, G-Man, how you doing?" He introduced us to his friends, and I goes, "How you doing?" So I said, "Listen, we're gonna have a punch bowl game. You want to join us?" He goes, G-Man goes, "No, we can't. We got to get back because my friend is a black belt in karate, and he's having a tournament tonight." And I'm like, "A what? A black belt in karate?" I'm like, I don't. It's kind of the first time I've heard about karate. It was just starting to really, get on in the United States. People they open in little schools and stuff like that. Okay. So I'm like, karate? I don't know much about it. I know they're badasses, in order to go join the special forces in the army, you had to know karate. I'm like, okay, so sounds bad enough to me. Little did I know then. So, but again, I was working out every day. Every day, I'm banging that bag and hitting that bag and wrestling with Jerry and Bruno and the guys. I mean, I'm doing my thing every single day. I'm kicking that bag. All right, so, and I'm riding that bike all over East New York and Brownsville and Queens and Canarsie. That big butcher bike, so my legs are strong. I was in really pretty good shape, and so so they go, I said, "Karate, man." So Bobby Chinkum whispers to me, he goes, "I kicked this karate. I kicked this guy's ass last year." So the guy hears him, and I'm like, oh, shit. So the guy goes to Bobby. He says, "You kicked my ass, midget? Fuck, I never even met you, you little shit." So I said, "Listen, why don't you prove it, man? Go down the, there's a lot on Shepard and New Lots." So I said, "Why don't you go down the lot and do your little thing, So they walk down to as they're walking to the lot, I tell Bobby, "Jump his ass now," So Bobby jumps on the back of this dude, and I'm doing this at his expense because I want to see what this guy's got, But it's at Bobby's expense. So the guy jumps on Bobby jumps on the guy, and the guy flips him and hits him 2 shots in the face, knocks him cold. He was out cold. I mean, I'm like, holy shit, that guy is fast. Oh, I go, oh shit, I didn't get to see much, man. But I'm saying, I'm looking at Jimmy and I'm going, gee, will I be able to get our asses kicked right here too? I wasn't too confident, you know. Not that I'm afraid, but I wasn't. I'm like, wow, this guy's really, really good, you know. So, Bobby's laid out. He's out. He's sleeping on the sidewalk, you know. And I'm like, all right, let me, I'm like, okay, wow. I go, wow, that was something else. The guy goes, and he should have never did this, because it pushes my button sometimes. He bends down like he's wiping off his pants. He said, I didn't want to hurt the midget, you know. When he bent down, I kicked him on the right foot. I kicked him in the face. And I was good at kicks. I got great legs, you know. And I'm like, I kick him in the face, and as he gets up, bang, bang, I hit him with two right hands. He spins around, and there's a wrought iron fence about 3 foot, maybe a little, I don't know, about 3 foot behind him, and behind that is a brick building. And he goes face down. I knocked him cold. He's laying on that thing, you know. And G-Man and his other friend running the street. And I'm like, hey, man, what do you bring these jerk-offs around? Don't bring them around New Lots Avenue if they're going to be this way, you know? So I'm like, all right, let me just do, let me just do what I'm going to do, you know, all right. So, G-Man says, no, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. Blah, 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 blah. I said, okay. You do what you got to do. Just get rid of this guy, And if he comes back, we're going to destroy him. I'm telling you, we'll come to Crescent Street. So G-Man said, no, don't come to Crescent Street. I'm like, okay. So they take him away. Now, how I met G-Man was one day, G-Man and like 4 guys passing the Elton Street Park. And Frankie Bepp is on the Elton side street of the park. I'm on the Linwood side street with a few guys, And they said something negative to Frankie, and Frankie like blows the New Lots whistle, and we come running from the other side. We come running from the side. There's like 10 of us. They start to run. I mean, they're like, all right, 10 of these guys. Well, shit, we're out of here. So as they're running, They're running past Hegeman Avenue down to Linden Boulevard and Linwood Street. They're running to the L to Linwood Street. And as they're crossing the Linden Boulevard, which is kind of 6 lanes and cars coming in both directions, as they're crossing Linden Boulevard, I run behind G-Man and bang, I hit him in the back of the head. He goes down on his knees, and his car's coming, so I pick him up by his jacket, and I run with him to the other side of the street. When we get to the other side, I said, don't throw any punches. I'm telling you now, don't throw. No, I'm not throwing a punch. Where you guys come from? Oh, my God. And Bepp and those guys, they were cool. They really didn't hit. They really didn't hit those guys or anything. They didn't beat up those guys. So they were pretty cool about that, And so we became really good friends at that point. Now, let me tell you a few stories about these guys. G-Man and his cousin John, who were demonic. I mean, they had demonic pleasure, I mean, I wasn't that kind of character, I liked to fight and stuff like that, but other than that, I didn't do drugs, I didn't smoke, I didn't drink. I worked out all the time. I tried to stay as healthy as I could, riding my bike and doing my weights and banging the bags, So, and training. So but I go down to Crescent Street once, and here's G-Man and John with a stolen, like 10 stolen bowling balls. I'm like, where the hell did you get these, They said, watch this, So they get the balls, and they're rolling them down up Crescent Street towards Linden Boulevard, and they're missing cars, hitting cars. I mean, I'm like, are you guys sick? What are you doing? You're going to kill people, And they're like, fuck it, who cares, And they got these heavy balls. You know what they're bowling? They're all the black ones, too. They're the heavy ones, And they're rolling these bowling balls down and down the street. And I'm like, oh, man, you guys are sick. I'm out of here, So I leave. Another thing, John, who married my cousin Marie, who was another lost soul from East New York. I hate to say that. I love her to death. Man, I love all my family, But I love these 2 guys, too. They're sick as they were, So John one day, they lived down at the old mill. It was kind of the back of East New York. You know, there was lots and things, and my cousin and John lived in kind of a lotted area with a house, and there was another house a few doors, about, I don't know how, I'm not exactly sure how far away, but he has a shootout with the girl in the other house next stairs, and they're shooting at each other, and nobody got hit. It ended, and the girl went to work. All right. Well, John owned the carting business, and he had bulldozers. He was making money. This guy. I mean, it wasn't the same time. This is kind of after, but but uh, but what happened was, John got in his bulldozer, ripped the woman's house down, cleaned the property clear, put it in his dumpsters, and I mean, I'm sure the woman came home. She got no house. I'm like, you ever hear of such a thing? I'm like, oh no, this is crazy, you know. I mean, this they told me later because it happened a little later in life, you know. And the next thing I know, John had AIDS, and he's in the hospital, and it was from a black prostitute gave him AIDS, you know. So Marie, my cousin, goes up to the hospital to see him, and tells John, walks in, and John goes, oh, Marie, I'm glad you're here. You know, when I come home, you take care of me. I'm really sick. I feel terrible. You know, I feel like I'm gonna die. Marie goes, oh, take care of you. You want me to take care of you? Oh, let me. I'll be right back. You know, she goes in the hallway. She comes back. She got this prostitute with duct tape around her mouth. Her hands are duct taped, you know, and she throws the prostitute on the bed and says, you know what, John? She took care of you before. She'll take care of you now. All right, the next thing I know, John got out of the hospital, and the prostitute got a bullet in the head. I don't know if it was John, so I can't say for sure, you know. So that was it. I mean, that's these kind of characters. This is the character in East New York, and that old mill area was pretty bad, you know. But again, I was working every day, you know, at this, you know, and well, listen, you know, listen, in that area, you know, you either grew up to be a wise guy, to be a gangster, to be a drug addict. You got your head blown off in the street. You did the wrong thing, like G-Man. G-Man went with a wise guy's wife, got a bullet. You know, they're not going to beat you up. They can't beat you up. G-Man was a tough guy, too, you know. But they put a bullet in you, which is easy, you know, which is easy for them to do, you know. But I didn't believe before I went to Vietnam, I didn't believe it could be worse. But it was. It got worse. It got worse than that, you know. So that was it. You know, I mean, you know, that's that story, and I hope you enjoy it. You know, I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope you enjoyed these stories. They're pretty cool, I think. You know, I mean, they're all true. Everything is true. You want to give me a lie detector test? You got it. You know. So every story I'm going to tell you is true. There's a lot of stories. I had a load of fights. All right. So, but again, you work at it. You work at it. All right. You know, do the right thing. You know what the right thing is. You know what the wrong thing is. You get all these gangsters. They're all on podcasts. They're making all kinds of money. These idiots. I mean, I'm telling you, these are bad guys. You know, they were bad guys. Not only killers. They try to portray themselves as being honorable. They're not honorable. All right, they're far from honorable. I mean, they're dealing drugs, you know, and doing all kinds of nonsense. But that's for another time, another story. I got more stories to tell. All right, thanks a lot. I really appreciate you listening. If I could get on podcast, that would be even better. You know, maybe I can make a few bucks doing this. I'm fine. Believe me, I'm fine. Look, I got my pool. I got my property. I got land in the back. You know, I got my animals. I'm doing really well. I got a great marriage. So I love all you guys. Thanks a lot. You Brooklynites, you New Yorkers. You know, thank you so much. You know, thank you.